Chapter 11. As I park my car, I feel like I've left a dream. I take another deep breath and realize the air quality is bad. Here I am back in Los Angeles after a long day at the hospital, an hour's drive to Cincinnati Airport in Kentucky, a 5-hour flight with a 2-hour nap, a taxi from LAX to home in the slums of Beverly Hills, and the drive to Hollywood for rehearsal. I exit my car and approach an older-style Spanish apartment building. I knock on the door and wait a few moments. Lorraine, the director, opens the door and smiles with wide eyes, sparkling. "You're here?" "I left a message from the airport that it'd be 30 minutes late. You didn't get it?" "Yes, but I'm just excited that you are here." "Thanks," I say, and wonder what would it be like to always be greeted that way. Lorraine, about 30, very attractive with an educated and relaxed grace, says, "I'm happy your son is improving, Eugenius, but I really feel awful that you left him. 16 to 24 hours a day in that hospital has been intense. I couldn't think of a better way to release my tension than doing this. Thank you for your concern. I'm glad you're here too." "I'm Faye," says the 30-something, lean and fit actress with whom I will be working. "Hi, I'm Eugenius. You look great for the role," I say sincerely. "And you look great for yours," she says as she flips her short red hair back. "I know you're tired, so we'll make this rehearsal as brief as possible," says Lorraine to me. She shows us stage blocking as she moves agilely around her lovely Spanish-style living room. "These chairs will be the park bench on and around which you will work. Before we go any further, I have a reservation," I say. "When I auditioned, I didn't know my character was fighting in the Golden Gloves. I had no idea he was 20 years old. I'm one of those actors who would like to think he can do almost anything, and will try. But my God, my son's that young. Good actors are excused of some imperfections, so don't worry. This is just an exercise for directors to better learn their craft," Lorraine says. "Just wanted to admit that I know I'm physically too old for this character. Up close you look like you're 28 or 29. The audience is going to be at least 10 feet away. You'll look 20, no problem. You're perfect or I wouldn't have cast you." "Okay," I say. "The two of you are taking a walk together and you come to this park bench. Stop and talk. Faye, flirt with him. You've been with your stuffy boxing manager boyfriend too long and this young man is refreshing. Eugenius, your character is naive but loyal. So even though you are aroused by her, you would never make a pass at your manager's girlfriend." "All right. Let's do it," Lorraine says. Thursday, October 2nd, standing in the hall in my apartment. I am on the phone, waiting, dressed for the performance. 50 slacks and net short-sleeved shirt. "Intensive care unit," says a female voice. "Hi. May I speak with the head nurse, please?" "One moment, please. This is Mrs. Bain. How may I help you?" "This is Eugenius. How is my son, Jeff? Room 317. Marshall." "Oh, you'll have to ask his doctor. I can't give out any information. You know how difficult it is to track down a doctor. I'm not going to be around a phone where anyone can reach me for 4 or 5 hours. Please, just tell me if Jeff is stable, improved or worsened since yesterday afternoon. He's not with us anymore. He didn't die. He was transferred from intensive care. You will have to call admissions for his room. My son's out of danger." Thank you. He's not in danger. Have a fabulous day, Mrs. Bain." 10:40 At the American Film Institute I watch 40 directing fellows applauding Faye and me enthusiastically. This moment, at the end of a performance, is the only time I allow myself to notice the audience. Professor Dawn stands and says, "Yes, it was very good." She waits another moment for everyone to quiet, but each scene has to be more than that. The actors were interesting, believable. We could relate to them, but what was missing? Film is visual. Let's give them action, something to do within their characters. Ogenes is playing a viable contender in the Golden Gloves, right? Ogenes, I would like you to practice your foot and fist work during the scene. Let's do it again. Actors, take your places. 10 minutes later. Faye, in character, rises from the bench, approaches me and says, I just think you should be careful of Tom. Watch your back. I give my imaginary opponent a succession of quick jabs to the stomach, then dance back. I duck an imaginary punch to my right eye. I come back with a barrage of jabs to his face. Don't worry, I can take care of myself. I stop shuffling and jabbing the air. I'm breathing heavily but not winded. I have to get back. I'll see you later. Cut, Professor Dawn says. The room fills with whistling, howling and applause. You see how exciting it was after adding action appropriate for one character. Let's give Faye and Ogenes another thank you, and that's it for today. They applaud. Faye and I bow and leave. 10. Just having awakened from a nap, I lie in Beatrice's bed watching her undress. Her athletic Latin body is covered with lightly tanned satin skin and accented with rich black hair. What are you thinking about? How a nap a day gives me more waking hours in a day, and how much better I think and function. Why, were you thinking I was making love to you while you undressed? I tease. Yes, I'm embarrassed. Don't be. I was also admiring your beauty. Would you mind if we didn't make love right now, sweetheart? Can we talk? Sure. What's on your mind? I ask. I spent 3 of the 5 days you were gone staying with Iwansa. She shared all the wonderful things you two did together, and how you saved her life. She's still very much in love with you. I don't know if I could love anyone as much as she loves you. May I ask a few questions? Answer aloud only if you want. Would a rose look to a gardener for how a rose should grow? If the rose were able to produce the chemicals to break down the soil, absorb the nutrients and recreate them the way a gardenia does, then would the rose be a rose or a gardenia? A rose would probably go crazy trying to behave like something it wasn't, Beatrice says. Okay, then, how can you know what you personally feel about anything if you are immersed in Iwansa's thinking and feelings? Is it important for you to judge your thinking and feeling by hers? Sometimes, if I don't like the way I feel, or the results of what I'm doing, that's what education is all about. True, other people's experience can be inspiring, but if you were to try to feel and think the way anyone else does, then aren't you like the rose trying to be a gardenia? If anyone did that in school, wouldn't they be admonished for plagiarism? I ask. This is getting too confusing. Sorry. What's your favorite color? It varies, but mostly rich reds. Why? I don't know. I like the way it makes me feel. Do you think that Iwansa's passion for pink makes your passion for red less or wrong? I get the point. And you're absolutely right. But I feel so much empathy for her. She wants you to be her lover again, and I feel like I'm the reason you're not in love with her. I feel like I'm taking you away from her. I guess it better start from the beginning. Iwansa and I met on Jekyll Island, Georgia. The couple who owned the local health food store referred Iwansa to me. When Iwansa came for her first appointment, she was frail, trim and pallid as a corpse. She trembled. Her skin on the back of her arms hung like an elderly person's. She was allergic to everything but fresh self-squeezed grapefruit juice. She had been diagnosed as having terminal cancer, 16 malignant tumors in her liver, 30 pea-sized tumors in her spine, 6 in her uterus, and innumerable tiny non-malignant tumors in her brain. She was given as little as 1 week to live. How old was she? 34. Iwansa and I sat and talked about her diet, and she really had only 1 week to live. She was in danger of suffering a stroke at any moment. And when you're down to 1 food in liquid form and you can't even drink water without getting maddening hives, the end is very near. But I was optimistic. Right then and there, I gave her a selection of foods to eat in combination. She was afraid to eat any one of them alone, so the idea of eating them all together terrified her. I asked her what she had to gain and lose. She ate for 2.5 hours while I explained my theories and conclusions about diet. She didn't get one half. She was elated. Since then, she gets halves only twice a year for 2-week periods of when she goes through a lymph detoxification. I also instructed her to get more sleep because most healing happens in the sleep state. She had her own gift shop and worked an 8 to 12-hour day there. I insisted that she tell her husband and son to fix their own meals, do their own laundry and tidy after themselves. Her husband had a fit because she wouldn't be making him any more stuffed mushrooms. She divorced him. She told me the same story. She said you nursed her back to health. You were her angel. Her body, with the proper foods and sleep, healed itself. I didn't. I helped her discover what foods were right for her body at any given time, which she does very well on her own now by following her instincts and intuition. Anyway, her cancer went into remission immediately, but her body will be discarding those tumors, particle by particle, for years to come. When her husband left and she had to surrender the gift shop, she couldn't handle all the bills on her own and get well too, so we rented a house together. We fell in love. Several months later, I ate the poisonous mushroom that killed every feeling I had but pain, empathy and my sense of smell. And everything smelled awful. I lost my sexual drive too. I had been the picture of health and overnight I became as sick as she had been most of the time. And I went from making love 3 to 5 times daily to sip. That was difficult for her. She said she had never experienced the passion we shared. We took turns nursing each other, and yes, I nursed her a lot more, but we did what was compassionate. We loved and cared for each other. We still do. But, basically, the romance ended when my senses died with the poisonous mushroom. When my sexuality returned 5 years later, it was not for a once. Until a few months ago, when you and I met, that kind of affection was something I thought had ended for me. I can't transfer my passion for you onto a once. It would be debilitating and fruitless to try to be a bird of paradise if what I am is a sunflower. I joke. Hi, sunflower. Do you want to shine on me? Beatrice says, leaning on me and nibbling my ear.